What's going on YouTube? So when we first sampled the K4 hatchback earlier this year in California, we were very impressed. And now we've had the privilege of living with this new hatchback for a full week. So after the week, did it prove this is an excellent choice? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's get started with the spec dump. So under the hood of this K4 is a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine making 190 horsepower. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and our combined fuel economy is 28 mpg.
Now, the base price of the K4 hatch is a little under $25,000, and if you're looking to buy one or any vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we lived with this model for a full week, so we have quite a lot to share when it comes to our real-world impressions, but first we need to go ahead and close up the hood and take a look at the outside and inside.
Now, when it comes to the exterior design, this K4 hatch got a lot of attention this week. Many people were asking about this vehicle, which is something you certainly don't see from many affordable options. Now, yes, some of that had to do with the fact that this is yellow, but everyone hated the yellow. You can get normal colors if you prefer. Otherwise, though, it has a very generally aesthetically pleasing shape, a low front end that's nice and wide with that signature Kia Tiger Nose grille. We, of course, have the GT line turbo, which gives you the most aggressive overall look. Now, as far as the headlights, this is also a very distinct element. We have this really long daytime running light and turn signal indicator going across through there. And then since we have the top end GT line turbo, it upgrades our standard LED headlights to these crystal projector LED headlights. These headlights are absolutely phenomenal. We talked about this in our K4 night review for the sedan that you can check out on our channel right now, but these lights are basically luxury car grade. But of course, what makes the K4 hatch different in the back is the hatch.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think it looks really fantastic here in person. Let's break down some of the individual design touches. So we have a spoiler up here at the top. We actually do have a wiper integrated underneath, so I'm happy that they haven't, cheaped out on that element. And they also haven't cheaped out on the tail lights. So as far as these, they're actually a full LED unit. So you have your LED brake light and your LED turn signal with the LED accenting. That's standard here on the turbo variant. You do have a reverse light down here at the bottom. That's not LED, but overall, the rear diffuser is very aggressive.
Moving on to the wheels, since the hatch is available in less trims than the sedan, 2 out of 3 will come with these 18-inch alloys. Since we have the turbo, it has the special gloss black finish and looks nice. You also have a little bit of gloss black accenting around the wheel arches, as well as up here on our mirrors. Now, as far as the technology on board, you have standard heating and blind spot monitoring.
Now, here at the side of the K4 hatch, you can certainly tell that this is the hatchback variant. I personally think this looks a lot better than the sedan because the sedan still has some of the unique elements, such as the door handles being integrated into the window surround itself, but I think the hatchback really integrates it a lot better. Now, speaking of this compared to the sedan, it's about 10 inches shorter, so it's 174 inches in overall vehicle length, and it's also about 10 inches shorter than something like the big brother Kia Sportage that you could also maybe be looking at. Now, when it comes to your active safety features, Kia includes every single one of those as standard equipment. That will even include things like adaptive cruise control. Furthermore, you get Highway Drive Assist 1.0 and even available Highway Drive Assist 2.0, which will allow for some automatic lane changing. All of those systems worked really well this week. Let's go ahead and check out the very premium cabin. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
And if you want to know about all the latest and greatest rides, then make sure to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the newest cars. All right, moving to the inside. Here is our Kia key fob. You have standard smart entry as well as remote start built into the fob. Digital keys also offered. And you can grab behind the handle and that will unlock the door. And then checking out the interior, I've said it before with the K4s, but it's really impressive just how similar this interior is to some of the more expensive Kia products, even though this is one of their most affordable offerings. And beginning here with the seats. All versions of the hatchback, since it starts at the EX trim, get a Syntex leatherette seat. You can see we've got the two-tone black and white color scheming, which looks very premium. You can also get a sporty red if you prefer, but overall, the seat material feels really nice, and I like the overall shape. You also have power adjustment with two-way lumbar support, and since we have the technology package, this includes some special things over here on the door trim. You'll notice we have memory seating, very rare for this segment of vehicle. We also have seat ventilation in addition to the standard seat heating on all K4 hatches. Let's go ahead and climb inside. Now inside the cabin, let's look at the rest of the materials. Over here on the door trim, we have a leatherette. It goes all through the center section as well, and then a soft touch plastic will cover the upper door trim. As we move to the dashboard, all of this is covered in a soft touch plastic. We have kind of a faux aluminum trim that runs through the center section, a little bit of gray trim underneath of the vents, and then down here in the lower panels you have two different shades of plastic. It's not going to be padded or anything, but you don't really expect that for the price point. And now we'll fire it up with the push button start. And let's dive right in with the features and options. So we'll start with the gauge cluster. You'll see we have a digital cluster. All the models will have the 12.3-inch display, but we have the fully reconfigurable design on the turbo model. Also, when you get the technology package, that adds in the blind spot camera systems. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got a two-tone design here as well with that latest design that's kind of squared off. Nice feel in the hands overall. It's manual tilt and telescoping. Heating is available as well. Now, turning over here to our interior storage, some people might be cross-shopping this with, say, something like the Kia Sportage, and you want plenty of practicality. We'll check the center console here where you'll find a decent amount. It's not going to be huge, but with our signature donut test, you'll find 9 donuts inside, which is respectable for this segment of vehicle. You also have this storage area, which can be reconfigured to have your cup holders. And then you have another large storage cubby up here in the front, which also contains a wireless phone charging pad. As far as the shifter is concerned, nothing complicated here. It's just a traditional style. Pull back for drive, bump to the left for manual shifting. You also will find paddle shifters on the steering wheel for your GT line models. Popping in to reverse, we find another unexpected feature. This is the 360 camera, which is included with the technology package on this model. As you can see, you get the active trajectory as well as the overhead view and even the 3D spin, just like all the other Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis products. You also have brake hold and an electronic parking brake. Now, continuing to the center section here, we have a simplified climate system. You've seen this on many other Kia products. You just adjust the temperature up and down with this, and then you'll see it inside of this center 5-inch display. Some of the functions are exclusively up here in the display, and you can also press this button to expand it out across the entire screen. Like I said, it's dual zone automatic, and I already talked about the heated and ventilated seats. Down in the center section here, we have some audio controls, including a roller, in this case controlling our Harman Kardon audio system. So let's give that a sample right now. The system sounds quite nice. It's certainly a good step up as well over the standard 6-speaker sound system. Gives the cabin a good full sound quality. All right, now let's zero in on our main display. So this is also a 12.3-inch display. It is standard equipment, just like the main display. And as we take a look at this, this has Kia's CCNC software, but you'll notice we have a little bit of an extra touch. We have the fun animated package kind of downloaded onto this car. You can choose different types of kind of Disney related things. So you have like NBA, National Geographic, and other types of cartoon characters that you can change the graphics to. But as far as the actual system itself, that doesn't impact the performance. It's still absolutely excellent, pairs your phone immediately, and you have things like built-in navigation on this top spec model. Now, up top, we've got a manual dimming mirror. And then wrapping up the interior, we'll slide back this sunshade for our standard size sunroof. As you can see, it does open up.
So what about the rear seats? Are these as practical as some other SUVs that you could be cross-shopping with? Well, I'm actually happy to tell you that it is quite practical. What we're sitting at is 38 inches of legroom, 38.3 inches of headroom. And by the way, the headroom is increased an inch over the sedan when you choose this hatchback variant. So those are very big figures, especially here in the compact space, that is for sure. Now, this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8", I'm 5'9", and I brought along the official Car Confections ruler. That's going to give you a realistic knee room figure, and look at that, 9 inches of knee room. That is absolutely fantastic. It really feels super spacious back here. Also, my feet can slide up underneath of the seats. The seats themselves are also quite comfortable, and for those of you that might be parents, I did actually put a rear-facing car seat in here, and it fit just fine. Now, as far as the center armrest, you can fold that down. You have 2 cup holders inside, and we're not done with features because we actually have vents here in the center section, which is something that you typically don't find in this segment. You have 2 USB-C ports as well as a little bit of storage down there. Now, over on the door trim, it is going to be a hard touch on the upper part, so they cheaped out on that a little bit. However, the whole center section is leatherette padded, and there's a bit of storage down in the bottom. Heated rear seats are not offered on this model. And the practicality will continue as we head to the rear. Now, we don't have a power tailgate, but once you open this up, you're going to have a lot of space. 22 cubic feet of space behind the second row of seats. I can easily just reach up here and fold the seats down. By the way, they do fold 60-40 split. And when you do that, that reveals the 59 cubic feet of maximum cargo space that you'll find in the K4 hatchback. Now, compared to things like a Kia Seltos, that's very similar. The Kia Sportage is going to be a little bit bigger, about 15 cubic feet bigger, but this is still plenty of room for a lot of families, that is for sure. I was definitely pleasantly surprised with it this week, that's for sure. Now, as far as features, let's go ahead and get our cargo length, width, and height. As far as cargo length, 68 inches is what we're looking at from behind the second row of seats. 32 inches for the opening. 42 inches wide. And the height, honestly, not bad at all. It's sitting about 26 inches as far as the height. And then let's do the load-in height as well. Load-in height is really good at about 27 inches. Now, underneath of the floor, there is also a spare tire, which is something that a lot of its competition has gotten rid of. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the K4 hatch. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also begin things like our sound level reading, but first we need to start with a hard acceleration.
All right, 60 miles an hour with a K4 hatch.
Solid. Yeah.
Very nice. So, of course, we talked about it with the spec dump. We've got the GT Line Turbo. So what that means is we've got the more powerful of the two powertrains. This is a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It makes 190 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. Those are pretty solid power numbers, certainly for a little hatchback like this. It makes it quite spunky behind the wheel, and it is also a notable improvement over the standard option, which is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and that makes 147 horsepower.
Yeah, and throughout the past week that we've been driving this, I really have been pleasantly surprised with this powertrain. It has a lot of torque. It really pushes you back in your seat. This is, of course, a smaller vehicle, so, having that, nearly 200 horsepower, nearly 200 pound-feet of torque is definitely enough to get this thing up to speed satisfactorily, I guess. In a satisfying way. As far as the 0 to 60, it's sitting at 7.3 seconds, and the base powertrain's about 9.1 seconds.
The other nice thing about choosing this GT Line Turbo is that the 1.6-liter engine comes with an 8-speed traditional automatic transmission instead of a continuously variable transmission with your 2-liter engine. Not that there's anything wrong with that option, but this certainly gives you that more dynamic and sporty edge, and I think a lot of people will appreciate, just having that traditional stepped automatic feel. It's good and responsive. You also have paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well.
Yeah, and as far as how power is routed to the ground, it is via the front wheels exclusively. No all-wheel drive option. I wish they would add that to the K4, that is for sure. So it is just going to be front-wheel drive exclusive, and compare that to some of the SUVs you might be looking at, like a Kia Sportage. That is going to be a big distinction between the two. But we've turned on to our designated strip of road to talk about ride quality. Living with a car, you get to drive it on all types of road surfaces, and this K4 hatch, I think, has a very good ride that will be satisfying for many of the people that are looking to buy this. It does definitely have a sporty edge to it. This is the hatchback variant. We also have the GT line, so the GT lines are going to get a sport tune suspension, so yes, you can feel some road intrusion in here if you hit a big bump in the road. However, I will say I drove it quite a lot, and quite frankly, it's not uncomfortable at all. So I don't see this as being a vehicle that you couldn't take on a road trip or anything like that. It's definitely not hardcore. It definitely strikes a good balance between sport, dynamics, and also comfort.
Right. And it has great seats. They're really nice and comfortable.
56.9 seems to be our sound level reading. We took that at 55 miles per hour, and we have it on fan speed 1, so we can see how quiet it is and compare it to the competition on our website, carconfections.com. And looking at those rivals on our website, that's going to be a pretty darn good sound level reading. Now, the K4 has historically had the quietest cabin, and that once again continues. This is one of the quietest compact vehicles. It tests very good for the segment. A Kia or Honda Civic, for instance, is going to be a lot louder. A lot of those are sitting at like 60 decibels. So if you talk about a vehicle that you want to road trip a lot, loud cabin is kind of a big con in this segment, and the K4 kind of remedies that. So what about fuel economy? So what we're sitting at is either 30 miles per gallon combined with the standard engine, or 28 miles per gallon combined with the turbo, which is of course what we have sampled out this week. What have we been getting in the real world? Well, we drove it 167 miles, and our average fuel economy was 28.8 miles per gallon. Now, that was actually a mixture of both driving in the city and on the highway, so I have to say that's actually outperforming what the EPA is saying by about 1 mile per gallon. I think the fuel economy is pretty impressive here on the turbo, and it's not much of a sacrifice as compared to the standard engine option. So if you like power, I definitely recommend getting this.
Now, I had a lot of fun driving this in Malibu, California a few months back, but now, of course, we're here in Kentucky. We have a different kind of curvy country road, and we'll kind of give it a little sample right here today. Very nice. As I go around that corner pretty hard, this is a nice and balanced platform. I'm again impressed by the overall feel behind the wheel. It definitely has that sporty edge like Mason was talking about, but without being, too hardcore. This is, of course, a GT line. They're not making a full-on GT at the moment, at least, but as far as this, it really strikes the right balance, I think. In sport mode, the steering has a good heft to it, and you can see it's nice and responsive as well.
And that leads me perfectly into our airball and slam dunk, our least favorite and favorite element. I'm going to kick us off with the airball and say it's threefold. They should make a K4 GT is what they should do. Absolutely. After driving it this week, giving me more power, give me the Elantra INS powertrain in this. Absolutely. Also, they should add all-wheel drive as an option. And, of course, for those of you that, don't care quite as much about the sporty side of things, give me a hybrid. Compared to stuff like the Civic hybrid that gets nearly 50 miles a gallon, while 30 is pretty good, it's just not that good. So I really wish that they'd add a hybrid to this model. I think that would really improve the sales.
Yeah, and as far as the slam dunk side of things, can we just say all the rest?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah.
This vehicle just really impressed both Mason and I so much. It's really not even just for the money. This is just such a solid vehicle, but especially when you start factoring in the value you get at all three of the different trim levels, it's really quite incredible that what Kia is giving you. I mean, it's just a really, really solid vehicle that I could see working for a lot of different kinds of people's lives.
Absolutely. So do we like it better, the same, or worse after living with it? Absolutely better, everyone here at Car Confections. So what about pricing? Well, I said at the very beginning of this video, we start at under $25,000, and that's for this hatchback variant. So $24,990 is the base hatchback model. It's about $500 more expensive than the sedan, so really not much of a price difference at all. Now, if you want a fully loaded example like this one with every option on it, we're sitting a little over $32,000 after destination. Now, this vehicle is assembled in Mexico, and if you're looking to buy a Kia K4 or any vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool if you plan on doing any dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of all of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find all of that on our website, carconfections.com. But let's talk about resale reliability and the warranty. First up, let's talk about resale value. Kia as a brand is rated at 49.02% of estimated retained value after 5 years and 60,000 miles, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 21.13%. It's worth noting that is right at the industry average for all vehicle brands. However, it is less than some of its main competitors like Toyota and Honda.
Now, we've also looked at reliability. With our combined reliability index and the latest 2026 data, Kia is rated above industry average against all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about all of that, you can find that on our website, carconfections.com. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you have a 5-year, 60,000-mile basic warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and Kia does not do complimentary maintenance. And guys, that wraps up our week-long review of this all-new 2026 Kia K4 hatchback. We certainly enjoyed living with it this week, and we hope you enjoyed hearing our impressions. If you did, we'd encourage you to subscribe down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family, and you won't want to miss out on all the content we have to share. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. You make this all possible, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.